We need universal basic income for everyone making less than 50,000 a year. It doesn't have to be 50,000. It can be 100,000. Whatever number makes sense economically. The problem is the government's not going to help everybody. As long as it helps the majority of people, it's worth trying. I'm all for UBI for everyone. There's just not enough tax money to give to everyone. So this is just a suggestion on where to start. Some people are stuck on the term universal basic income. All the UBI programs have requirements. It's just an overarching term. If there is a better set of words for this, then I would change it that. It's just a term everyone knows and understands. So I'm changing it to basic income. If everybody gets it, it's more likely to cause inflation. And basic income helps to get back some of the money paid to income tax, property tax on your house and car, and sales tax on everything. We are way too heavily taxed for everything. This affects people with less income more. Income tax brackets really need to be changed. It's just basic income for basic needs. People still need to work for nicer things. It will also help with giving people more power over their life. Maybe they don't have to work as much. Maybe they really hate their job or their boss, and they need money in between their job search. I totally agree with universal healthcare. That's definitely a #1 priority. Universal, 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 for everybody. I actually think we need UBI for everyone equally. You realize where the problem with this is, right? Total compensation goes up. Lose UBI. Actual annual income is now lower since your comp is 55K and you lost your UBI. The whole point of UBI is that it skips all the eligibility checking work and just gives it to every citizen. It prevents situations where you can make less by making more. When you make more money, you don't lose your benefit. So it encourages you to keep trying to earn more. That literally misses the point of universal. Here before this blows up popcorn. Then it's not universal. The government has proven that it cannot determine the microeconomic conditions of 330 million citizens in a timely and accurate manner. The bureaucracy of the government having to constantly determine who gets it and who doesn't will waste time and money, and inevitably result in people falling through the cracks. Give everyone UBI, and use a VAT to tax the rich and help fund it. UBI is only a band-aid that fails to tackle the root cause of income inequality. Capitalists will see that we have expendable income and gouge the prices on necessities. Then we'll be right back where we started. Only with corporations siphoning even more money from the government via the average consumer. Until corporate greed is reined in and regulations set and enforced. The idea of UBI is extraordinarily short-sighted and fundamentally flawed. My brothers, my sisters on this Reddit thread, please do not set any specific dollar amount, it will only be manipulated. Attach a wage to the American dream, aka homeownership. Back in the day, 2.5 times the average annual salary would buy a house. Let's start there. The problem will not be solved by UBI. The issue is that wages are not at all equal to the cost of living. The root cause of this is a fallacy on the business leaders' understanding of business and the economy. They need to be continually working to increase their workers' pay, reducing cost to produce the product or service and thereby reduce the cost to the public. This can be done by keeping profit margins the same. But it is better overall to have lower profit margins and do more business than it is to keep profit margins high and reduce business. The business leaders must first understand that wages need to be increased. This is the way to increase the economy as a whole, and they will also increase their profits as well. Perhaps it is a good idea to think of laws or ways to encourage the continual raising of wages. Universal basic income. You should look up the definition. It does need to be for everyone, but probably not 50K. But that's also because it needs to go along with affordable housing and universal healthcare, including mental health. It's more expensive to a society to fail to provide these things and watch people suffer on the street. If our basic needs were met so survival was guaranteed, then we would be working to thrive instead. I imagine people would be willing to even take lower-paying jobs, provided they didn't hate them, since all the money isn't vanishing to expenses just to stay alive. Give it to everyone. It would cost more to means test than it would save in payouts. So what if a millionaire or billionaire gets an extra $1,500 a month? I don't care if Bezos gets UBI as long as everyone else gets it too. You do understand what the word universal means, right? What you're talking about is just means-tested welfare. Just for context as well, 300 million people in the US at $200 per week UBI equals $60 billion per week equals $3.12 trillion per year for UBI. That I would not even consider as being enough for basics. Freedom dividends. Let Republicans say no to that. Cool. We need universal basic income for everyone making less than $50,000 a year. FTFY. Don't arbitrarily limit the amount. Give even Jeff Bezos a UBI. Why? Because a UBI is going to accompany a raise in taxes. For example, I have a UBI plan I advocate for, which would include an 18% flat tax on top of all additional taxes to help fund. You might wonder why give Jeff Bezos a UBI. But let's put it this way. If you don't work, you'd get $14,400. If you work a minimum wage job, you'd earn around $15,000 a year. You would pay taxes on around $2,700 of this and go home with $12,300. You would still get the $14,400 UBI I support. So your net income would be $26,700. Ignoring other taxes, which at that tax bracket would be rather low and limited to payroll and the like mostly. You earn $15 an hour? Okay. That's what? $31,000 a year? That's $5,580 in additional taxes. You still get $14,400 extra. Net income $39,820. Where does this UBI reach a breaking point? Actually, it's at exactly $80,000 with the 18% flat tax. So this amounts to a UBI that goes to anyone making under $80,000 a year. People making over still get it, but they pay more in taxes. If you're at $100,000, you would pay $18,000 and get $14,400 back. So a tax increase of $3,600 a year. You make $1 million. You're paying $180,000 a year and still getting back the $14,400. Oh, and it scales in families. So say you have your typical family. Household income at $70,000. 2 adults and 1 child. So you would get $33,900. 2 by $14,400. And 1 by $5,100. As the child benefit is smaller due to being a dependent under 18. You would pay taxes on the $70,000 and lose $12,600. You would have a net income of $91,300. So why means test it? All means testing does is allow the government to get between you and what should be your birthright as a citizen. Everyone should get a UBI. And you control who benefits in net via taxes. As someone who makes much more than $50K, I am in favor of UBI. We waste a ton of effort doing all this audit, means testing, administration on everything from disability to childcare to food stamps. So many would be able to consider careers that support the common good but not the bottom line. Art, community, teaching. It would also head off all the people about to be thrown out of work by automation. Truck drivers, cab drivers, and give them time to pivot. We already have a proof of concept. In a very right state, Alaska provides every resident with direct payments from state assets. And most of all, businesses are chasing fewer customers. Henry Ford was apparently kind of an asshole, but he sure understood that paying his employees enough to buy his products was smarter than a race to the impoverished bottom. People aren't stuck on the term. Covering everyone is literally the entire point of UBI. If you want to stick an income cap on it, then it's something else. The point of UBI is that everyone is invested in it. You save on a lot of overhead from not having to evaluate eligibility and chase down fraud. And you avoid cliffs where you suddenly lose benefits when getting a raise. What you're talking about would be covered under welfare. Universal means universal. It has to given to everyone. Otherwise it doesn't work. Means testing just costs money, and putting a financial limit on it causes problems when inflation happens and you have to then increase the limit. Just give it to everyone. Who cares if a billionaire gets money he doesn't deserve? He's going to lose far more and actually have to pay his employees a competitive wage with a competitive benefits package. Subsidized living wage? Would that be a good name for it? Large companies get subsidies all the time, because they hired X number of minorities, women, disabled, veterans, or whatever other protected group. Those who don't make a living wage should get subsidies as well. They should call it cost of living subsidy tax so these greedy assholes know they caused this to happen. Lol, how you paying for that, lol?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.